Hey BC, it's Ron. Thanks for stopping by for part 4 of my continuing series on 45 RPM company sleeves. Wow, I'm just so happy the way that this series has been going. I mean, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. I'm getting well over 300 viewings per video. And I owe it all to you guys, because if nobody was watching, I would not be doing this. So you're the ones that are making this a success, and I really want to thank you for that. I also want to welcome all my latest subscribers in the last month or so, and hope you stick around and communicate. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't bother to leave any comments, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I'd at least like to hear from you. So, hey, let's get going and sit back and enjoy the video. Okay, BC, we're going to get going with part 4 of my continuing series of 45 RPM records with the correct company sleeves. And the 45s I'm going to show today date from the 50s and 60s. And as you can see, there's a CD sitting here on the counter, and it's a promotional CD from 1994, and it's a 3-track sampler from the Kinks' final album, To the Bone. And it's got To the Bone, Animal, and Celluloid Heroes. This album was primarily recorded live, and live in the studio as well as live out on tour. And so the opening track we're going to hear is To the Bone, and that was recorded live in the studio. And this jewel case, as you may have noticed, has sort of a flicker 3D effect to it. So pretty cool. This first one is an oldie but goodie. 39 cents each, or 3 for $1. The hits you've missed, the original artist. And this is a distributor sleeve, and it's got the date of October of '66 there up in the corner. And the record is the Everly Brothers, When Will I Be Loved, and Be-Bop-A-Lula. And this is a 60s pressing. It's a little more red rather than the deep maroon. And there's some silver print on it. It says 39 cents, and then down below it says 3 for $1. And I actually pieced this together. I did not find the record in this sleeve. But you know what? I might have hit the jackpot on that, because those might actually go together. So that was a great pairing that I made on that one. Here's a Duane Eddy Freight Train, and this is from November of '69, and this was a minor hit for him. His career was failing in the late '60s, and he was just basically putting out singles, no albums. But this was a pretty good hit for him. Out of all the 45s that he put out in the late '60s, this was his highest charting. And it's a promotional label, and it's got the cool Congress sleeve, which is a sub of MCA. So, pretty cool. Here's a Liberty sleeve with the record Dirty City by December's Children. And this is September of 1970. Here's a pretty hard to find Capitol sleeve, and they only used this for a short time in around 1963. And then they went to the, well actually they started out I think using the white and the black, and then some of the sleeves got out in black and white, and then they went back to the white and black. So this is more like an experimental sleeve, I think. But the record is from December of '63. Here's a rare Lee Hazelwood Industries company sleeve. And the record is Last Friday's Fire, which is Mike Condello. This was his first 45 under the name Last Friday's Fire. And it's from March of '67. Here's a mid-'60s Hickory sleeve by the Inn, Garage Rock. And it's for September of '66. And the later Hickory labels will still have this design, but it'll be a little bit different down here as for the address or whatever it is. Here's the Tribe label with the company sleeve from London that they use for their sub-labels. And this is from March of 1965. Here's a British sleeve, Columbia, and I had the record and I lucked out and I actually found a great condition copy of the original sleeve. I mean, and when I say copy, I don't mean a reproduction. And so, man, what a great find. And they had some different colors. I think some of these were red, and so they had different ads on the back. But this one, it just, I nailed it. You know, it's perfect pairing on that Yardbirds record. Here's another British band, Unit 4+2, Concrete and Clay. And there's the London sleeve for that. April '65. Now this one I showed before, but I got a different sleeve for it. And what makes it different is this is an earlier one where they actually had the date printed on the edge there, and the date is May of '66, and it just so happens that that's when this record was released. So, wow, what a great pairing there. Now here's a Dalton sleeve, and I paired it up with a record that Randy sent me. And it's got some tearing, but you know what, these early Dalton sleeves like this are not easy to find. And it's from October of 1960, and it did originally have a picture sleeve. Here's a Motown sub-label sleeve, and it's for Gordy Records, and Hitsville, USA. That was Motown's headquarters. It was a house. Originally, it was a house in Detroit, and that was also their name of the recording studio. The record is The Contours, Do You Love Me? And it's 1962. A lot of bands covered that. The Sonics did a version of it. Paul Revere and the Raiders did a cover version of it. So, pretty neat sleeve. I'm going to show some 50s stuff. This is the Rocketeens, Pop and Rock, Woohoo. And there's the roulette sleeve for that, September of 1959. Here's Ritchie Valens' last 45 before he died. Freight Train, backed with Big Baby Blues. And January of 1959. Here's a Pop and Rock record on X Records, which is a sub-label of RCA, from January of 1955. Eddie Fontaine, Rock Love. Here's Bobby Darin, Splish Splash. And if you weren't in the know, you might think that sleeve has been yellowed from moisture and age or whatever. But actually they printed that on brown paper, and they only did it for a short time. And I think it was more of an experimentation, or it's just the paper that they had at the printing factory when they made the sleeve. But the brown paper version was not around very long. It was only around in the late 50s. That's from May of 1958. Here's a couple of sleeves with a couple different labels, and it's Allied Record Distributing Company, which was actually, it was a record distributor, and they put their own company sleeves for the records that they distributed. So we got a couple of R&B records here that, they're kind of a little bit in the novelty vein, where this one has this guy screaming in the background, making monkey jungle noises, and the name of the song is Psycho Serenade from September of 1959. And this one's kind of another sort of a black R&B novelty record that's very funny. How Come My Dog Don't Bark When You Come Around by Roscoe Scully. And it's from February of '61. Here's a Pat Boone record where he was doing some rock and roll, Long Tall Sally. And previously he'd done Good Golly Miss Molly, so he did a couple of Little Richard. He must have admired Little Richard. There was a little bit of controversy over him covering a black artist's songs. People wondered why he just didn't do some white rock and roll. But I guess that was just the Christian in Pat Boone, that he wanted to cover a black artist. So it's okay record. It's definitely Pat Boone. And it's from March of 1956. Here's some British rock and roll, Singing the Blues, Tommy Steele and the Steelmen on Decca. And that's a second pressing due to the Decca logo. The centerpiece has been punched out, and it was originally from November of 1956. Here's the first record by Ricky Nelson, and it's on Verve. Cover version of Fats Domino, I'm Walking. And Verve didn't make their company sleeves for very long, so that's a nice find. I just made that last week. Picked that up. A good price. Great price, actually. And it's from April 1957. Now this is another Ricky Nelson after he'd signed with Imperial. And that song was written by Johnny Burnett and Dorsey Burnett from the Rock and Roll Trio. But I have not been able to find a recording of them doing that song. This is a good little rockabilly record. Some of those early sides by Ricky Nelson are very, very good. March 1958, and it originally did have a picture sleeve. Here's The Way I Walk by Jack Scott. Now, this record was available in this sleeve, but this sleeve is not the right color for when this record was originally released. And The Way I Rock was covered by the Cramps. So that's a cool record to have, and it's from May of 1959. Midge is a good rocker too. Jack Scott was good, but he did a lot of ballads, and I think that kind of hurt him a little bit in my view. But he did do a lot of rock and roll, and the rock and roll that he did was very good. Here's another one. This is more like a ballad, and this is after he'd signed with Top Rank. And it's from December of 1959. Here's one of Marty Robbins' rock and roll sides, Pretty Mama, on Columbia. And that's from October of 1955. Here's Eddie Cochran's first record on Liberty, and Dark and Lonely Street, and Sitting on the Balcony was the A-side. And I think that's non-album, Dark and Lonely Street, non-album. And it's from February of 1957. And then this is a little bit later. The company sleeve had changed by then. And this is Jeannie, 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 excellent rocker from Eddie Cochran, and his non-album single from January of 1958. And here's another Rockabilly What You Want, Matt Curtis, promo label, and the correct King sleeve there. January of 1958. A few more. Rockin' Saints, Cheat on My Baby on Decca. And that's from September of 1960. This is good. It's got vocal. And here's Runaway, Del Shannon on Big Top. From February of 1961. And if I remember right, this was the first record to feature that keyboard. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a keyboard that has that gives it that unique sound, and this is the first record to use that, I believe. And then final one is a Japanese record that I had the record, but I found a sleeve for it that's pretty close. It's not a dead match, but I mean it's pretty close. And so it's got the original Jap sleeve, plastic sleeve, and then this record it's a split. It's Sanford Clark, The Fool, which is a local record here that went international. And then the other side is The Green Door, Jim Lowe. So this is, the catalog number is 1003. And if you look on the back of the sleeve, it's this record right here. So I'm thinking that maybe this sleeve was made for a Pat Boone record, and I'm pretty sure about it. But it's still pretty close, and I got the insert for it, April of 57, with the lyrics. So this is an original 1950s Japanese record, so I mean, pretty cool. Okay, that does it for the stack, that does it for the tunes, that does it for the video. And I'm off this week, so maybe I can knock out a recent finds 45s video. And don't be surprised if you'll see a part 5 in this series. I don't know how long this series is going to go on, but I think I can do another one. So I can't say when it'll happen, but it'll probably happen. So everybody take care, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these, and catch you next time. Bye.